Happy Friday, folks. NBL Now coming at you after a Thursday night doubleheader to kick off round 11, Heritage Round in the NBL, which is all kinds of fun. Joel Peterson and Damon Lowery with you on a Friday as always. Good morning, TL.
JP, my man, top of the morning to you.
Good to see you, as always. You were on the call of Melbourne and New Zealand last night. We'll get to that very shortly. Wanted to open up with something different, though. The MVP race has been an interesting discussion throughout the year, with names that have coming in, coming out. Parker Jackson Cartwright's probably still at the front of the queue at the moment. So you think it's going a certain way in terms of a certain type of player?
Yep. The MVP race is all about the guards, Joe. It's all about the little guards this season. PJC, clearly front runner. Kendrick Davis, hopefully he can come back with the same form that he had when he left, because he's clearly an MVP. I got him top 3. And now Bryce Cotton has re-entered the chat. And if I'm not mistaken, Bryce Cotton, the year he won MVP, just last year, I think he averaged 22 points a game. So I think he's just above that slightly. So it's a 3-horse race. It's all about the little fellas, and go the guards.
Okay. 3-horse race, you say? So Montrezl Harrell gets no love, and Xavier Cooks, who last time he was in this league, he gets no love either?
See, the thing with Montrezl Harrell, who was playing at MVP caliber, missing those 3 games, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to get from Trez, so I'm a little bit dubious. Is he one tough foul away from, getting suspended again? Who knows? Now, Xavier Cooks, who I've known since the day he was born, Xavier Cooks isn't playing the same. He's not having the same impact, Joe. And I feel like it's because they're too small. The year that Xavier Cooks won the championship, they had Tim Suarez, they had Jarrell Martin. The year he wins MVP, they've got Jordy Hunter. So now Xavier Cooks is playing way too much 5-man. So I just don't feel like he's been impactful enough to get MVP.
Can I give you his numbers? Because this is really interesting reading. So 2022, he wins the MVP his last season at the Kings. Of course, he plays 34 games in that championship run. He plays 26.5 minutes a game, averages 15.1 points, 7.8 rebounds, 3.5 assists, half a steal, half a block, shooting 57% from the field, 32% from the line, and 55% from the free throw line. This season, 15 games in, he is playing 27 minutes and 22 seconds a game, so a minute more. He's averaging 15.7 points, 8.7 rebounds, 3.9 assists, a steal, 1.3 blocks, shooting 58% from the field. He's shooting 38% from 3, 38.5%, and he's shooting 62.5% from the free throw line. That is an uptick in every single one of those statistical categories, and his plus minus is exactly the same as it was in 2022 at 6.5.
Damn. Did I say 3-horse race? There's another horse coming from the outside. Xavier Cooks, wow. I wouldn't have thought that. It just doesn't seem to be as impactful for some reason. So if he can get MVP with those numbers in 2022 and he's having a better statistical season, all right, it's now a 4-horse race. I take back everything I said.
I must admit, I was surprised as you were when just finding those numbers. But yeah, it's going to be a fascinating discussion, because if they get on a bit of a tear and he starts to lead them along, which they could do, he may well really enter that conversation with some real vigor.
And the only criteria I would have is the MVP has to play finals basketball. They have to make the playoffs. If you fall out of the 6, I don't care what you're averaging, you can't get it.
Yep, I agree with you there. So that's going to be one to watch throughout the course of the season. Let's get this stuck into our games from last night. We might start with the late game, which was decidedly more interesting than Melbourne's beatdown of the New Zealand Breakers. All of a sudden, Tassie's won 4 on the bounce. Maybe not against the greatest quality of opposition, but you still got to win them. They're a game away from 500. Are they back?
Yes. Yeah, yes, they are back, and they're looking like a playoff team. I can trust them. Out of all those bubble teams, it's going to be jockeying for position like 5th, 6th, 7th. I trust the Tassie JackJumpers the most because they play D. Now, even though Cairns Taipans showed that their defense was a little bit lacking in that first half, And actually, throughout the whole game, Cairns gave them all they can handle. But Dr. Jekyll showed up, JP. Not his evil adversary, Edward
Hyde.
But Milton Doyle, I'm telling you, one game good, one game down. Good down, good down. That's how it's going to work, it looks like. So Milton was awesome. Will Matinee did just enough, and they just got good contributions from across the board. Majuk Ding, I've been saying it. You can't guard this dude. He's one of the few unguardable guys in the league, and he was aggressive early, and his minutes looked really good. And Anthony Drimmick was also great. So the Tassie JackJumpers, you got your hands full, especially going down to my State Bank Arena. But throughout the course of the rest of the season, they're going to defend at a high level 9 times out of 10.
Scott Ross said before the start of the season, if he had Sean McDonald available, he would have started him. Jordan Crawford came off the bench last night, back from concussion. Do you think that's the lineup that we see from Tassie going forward, with Crawford coming off the bench?
Look, either way, it doesn't worry me. I mean, as long as both of those guys are getting their minutes. Now, there's going to be games when Jordan Crawford just goes lights out, gets 14 points in a quarter. He can do stuff like that. And he can also be a defensive pest up the floor. Obviously, Shawnee Mack is playing some good basketball. And I feel like similar to Josh, the Night King, with his trust of Owen Foxwell, is the exact same with Scott Roth. He just has a trust factor that's so high with Shawnee Mack. And Shawnee deserves it. And Jordan Crawford sometimes can be explosive and sometimes not so explosive. But Shawnee Mack is just consistent across the board. So, yes, if he wants to start him to make him sleep better at night, I got no problem with it, as long as the little big man gets his minutes and does what he does.
Well, they've got an interesting little schedule coming up, Tassie. They play New Zealand next Thursday. Then they play Melbourne, but it's an 11-day break between games. So things just might start to be breaking right for them a little bit at the moment. What about the Taipans? I mean, that was a pretty gritty performance. We've seen plenty of that from Adam Ford's team this year. Taron Armstrong sort of putting his hand up for the Next Gen Award, another star performance from him. What did you make of the Cairns performance?
That was the first time, if I'm not mistaken, this original starting 5 all played together. Incredible. This many games into the season to finally have your starting 5 intact, and they play like we'd expect them to play. Now, kudos to Adam Ford to juggle every single week, not knowing who's going to be available, and still keeping them competitive, and still keeping that slight edge about him. But he's also a little bit jovial. I saw Adam Ford, he's celebrating winning the coach's challenge. Still got a tech, but I just like the way he has not dropped his bundle. He's leading from the front. And Taron Armstrong, man, I'm telling you, this big guard, a future boomer, he is just doing some of everything. Only been in the league the 2 seasons. If his body can just stay healthy, he seems to get some rotten luck. I'm knocking on this wood over here, hoping that he can finish off the season, because he is a joy to watch.
Yeah, and the boy from Wynyard, the thing I love almost most about him is he saves his best to play Tassie. There's a little bit of that rivalry there, and he says, if I'm playing the JackJumpers, I'm balling out.
Yeah, the old son, this SOB, son of Ben, nephew of Sam Armstrong. Yeah, when he goes back home, he turns on, gives him that little bit of extra spice. And that game was there to be won for Cairns, but just late down the stretch, you can just tell they're just not used to being on the court together for long periods of time. A couple of key defensive lapses cost them, but credit to the JackJumpers, because they're going to be tough to beat at home.
The early game, you called it with Felix von Hoff. Melbourne whacked the New Zealand Breakers, both undermanned. Of course, they've both got their injury troubles at the moment, but United went over and did the business in Christchurch. What did you make of that result?
I thought that first half was high-quality basketball. Both teams executing on offensive end, both teams shooting the ball extremely well, and they took care of the ball even better. It wasn't 4 combined turnovers in a half of basketball. I thought this was sensational. And then I don't know what happened after halftime. I have no idea who came out of that locker room for New Zealand, but Melbourne United, they just continually keep the defensive pressure on for 4 quarters straight. The thing about Dean Vickerman's teams are it doesn't matter who actually plays, who's in or who's out. They play a defensive style. It's consistent. It travels. You're always going to get ball pressure. You're going to get good rebounding, and you're just going to get good overall team play. And the offense kind of takes care of itself. Last night, it was Rob Lowe. It could be anybody on any given night with this team. So they got a few road games coming up, as we know, when the tennis comes to town. They have positioned themselves beautifully for a top 2 finish.
Yeah, absolutely they are. PJC only took 9 shots last night. Not saying it was a bad performance by any stretch, but it wasn't his usual standard. Is that just the Shea Ili effect, harassing and hounding him?
Yes, man. I got to give Shea Ili all the props in the world. Now, PJC ran through them like traffic cones when he was in John Cain Arena. Don't think that Dane forgot about that. This was some payback. And the way to guard PJC is to not let him touch the ball. How many defenders in the league got the minerals, Joe? Got the pace, the strength, the speed? Because once Parker pushes it up and he gives up the ball, I watched Shea Ili deny him the ball back. And that's a defensive stat. It should be somehow statted, but it's not. But I'm watching him go, man, PJ couldn't get the ball back. PJC couldn't touch it because of Shea. So, and then Shea wears himself out, and then in comes Flint Cameron, or Deli might have a crack. They did a really good job. They made amends for what happened to him last time they met.
I'm going to start my lobby right now that we need an NBL all-defensive team. We've got 2 all-star teams. You know, Will Magnay and Shea Ili can't both win Defensive Player of the Year, so we need a team just so we can fit them both in.
And I'm agreeing with you on that one. I got Wani Swakala-Bullock, he's in that team, and I got Bull Quall in that team, and then we can all, put our heads together for that 5th spot. But we absolutely need our defensive team.
Yep, we'll make that happen. We'll make that, even if it's just you and me on an NBL Now, Damon, we will make that happen. Hey, speaking of minerals, this is a bit of a minerals test tonight between Brisbane and Adelaide at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre. I'm heading up there not too far from now, looking forward to being a part of the coverage this evening. They are both undermanned. Brisbane at home, Adelaide coming to that building. Who's got the minerals to win it?
Yeah, now, one thing the Brisbane Bullets do have, they have 3 imports. They have 3. Adelaide have 1. And Jarrell Martin isn't even playing up to that 1 full import status just yet. So I feel like Brisbane, they got the edge. Now, no Josh Bannon, but he still got Rocco and Tyrell Harrison, who didn't play last round. So they got enough right there. If Adelaide can somehow steal this win, this would be the best win without a shadow of a doubt in the entire season. No DJ Vasiljevic, no Kendrick, and no Montrez. That is incredible to have your top 3 guys out. So wait a minute. Kendrick Davis, he's still out, right?
Yeah, he's out for the first game of this weekend.
Yeah, I just can't see Adelaide generating enough points to win. Ice Humphrey's going to have a historical night as well as Jarrell. Can't see it happening.
Yeah, Davis comes back for Sunday against Perth, who will be without Keanu Pinder across the course of this weekend. The late game tonight, I'm looking forward to this because this could be sort of Melbourne Tigers versus Illawarra Hawks level, sort of 186 to 158 type stuff. Perth score crazy numbers at home. The Hawks score crazy numbers home, away, neutral, wherever. This could be this could be fireworks.
Yeah, and Perth already got the dub over Illawarra. And I've said for Illawarra to be considered serious, for anybody to be taken really serious, you got to go to Perth and win. So the Hawks gave up 113 points the last time these 2 teams met. That is not a recipe for a win. It's a good shootout recipe, a summer shootout, but not for a regular Hawks win. So I'm expecting Wani Swakala-Bullock to really climb up into our defensive player of the year award. He's going to have to lock down Bryce Cotton. Good luck with that, Wani. Good luck with that, man, because this dude is playing absolutely lights out basketball. But he's going to have to take a page out of Shea Ili's book and deny Bryce the ball. And like I said, good luck to him. This should be a barn burner.
Yeah, absolutely. So Perth's last 5 home games, they've scored 113, 88, 97, 117, and 123. So there'll be some points tonight. How does Bryce back up his 59? That'll be a fascinating question.
Yeah, now look, Bryce is obviously, surely he's not going to drop back-to-back 50s. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Oh,
but
couldn't rule it out.
Yeah, I'm not ruling out nothing with that dude. And I like the way his team has now got around him. Now, without Keanu Pinder playing, that's a big out because obviously the Hawks got all that size in the front court. So those other big dudes have to really step up. Dylan Windler, you have to get down there and do some battling. along with Izana Almanza, and obviously Christian Doolittle. But Bryce, you pencil him in at home for at least 25, right?
Yeah, I think you got to. At his heritage round, of course, those teams will be, the home teams will be sporting their heritage colours this weekend. Which one appeal? I'm not going to give you the Hawks. I'm going to say non-Hawks related, Damon. Which of the heritage round jerseys is your favourite?
And just as a footnote, the Illawarra Hawks heritage jersey, next year, it'll be really, really good.
Ooh, okay.
But so far, I'm really liking the New Zealand Breakers. Those Breakers, as soon as they ran out there, just like, oh, wow, is that CJ Bruton out there?
Looks mean.
Wow, is that Phil Jones? Kirk
Mick
Haney? Yeah, I mean, Paul Hanari? Wow. So now those colors really stood out to me, even though I'm colorblind. I can still make them out a little bit. And they got the front runner so far for the jerseys.
Nice. Southeast Melbourne Magic for me. I love any time that a franchise sort of respects its past by sort of going back in the lineage of another franchise. So if they've moved cities, if they've, changed their name, changed their colours or something, when you throw it all the way back, I reckon that's a really nice tribute. That's going to be a lot of fun when they are at home against Cairns tomorrow, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. They'll be in the Magic colours and it'll be a nice old celebration. So big weekend of hoops coming your way, of course. Brisbane, Adelaide tonight, followed by Perth and Illawarra. It continues all throughout the weekend as well. Damon, I look forward to seeing you across the coverage and have a good weekend.
You do the same, man.
Damon Lowery with you on NBL Now. Thanks for your company. NBL app, nbl.com.au for all the news as it happens across the course of the weekend and moments that matter. To wrap it all up as we head toward round 12.